Welcome back. You're still on to This Morning on Loveworld Plus. Now, before I went on the break, we said we're going to look at this, the reactions trailing the southern Kaduna killings. So we were, talking about, security now, security concerns.
Yeah.
This is something that, Kaduna has been in the news for years. I mean, we've seen history, where there have been killings, whether ethnic killings, religious killings, and it has become an eyesore. I mean, last week you had women, protesting, about this. They went on the streets. They went to the one of the royal palace or so, and they went. Some of them were naked just to protest. That's to tell you how far, how deep this thing has gone. And that's why we're looking at it with security concerns, because after that we've seen things happen in Taraba and Benue, and all of that. But given like a brief history of how it has been in
even Boko Haram attacked the governor.
Yes, that's the governor.
Borno State, Zulum.
Zulum, yes. But this insecurity, and then you have Bertai coming out, and different, the chief of air staff, saying that they're speaking to these different operations, military operations that giving them the charge. Even the president himself came out to say he has been given the charge to the military, given the charge to the troops to be able to, talking about these bandits and all of that, But it's beyond the charge at this point, what is going on. But let's just give a brief, of what happened, in Kaduna. Now, a recent wave of deadly attacks in the southern part of Nigeria's restive Kaduna state has brought the seemingly never-ending cycle of communal violence and impunity in the state back into focus. The media reported that gunmen killed at least 43 people between July 21 to 24, and that 178 people were killed in the past 7 months across southern Kaduna communities. 178 people were killed in the past 7 months across the southern Kaduna communities. Now, the police haven't commented on the identity of the perpetrators or the motivations behind the attacks. The state governor claimed the recent attacks were carried out by armed bandits terrorizing Nigeria's northwest states, but media reports included witnesses attributing blame to a militia targeting the southern Kaduna communities on ethnic grounds. Now, to discuss further on this topic, we have someone from Kaduna joining us now online, from Benue. He's joining us now online. He's a researcher. He is Victor Achem. Victor is a doctoral researcher at the University of Ibadan with a background especially in sociology and criminology. He specializes in social research that could inform policy for human development and societal advancement. Okay, thank you so much for joining us on the morning show. Hello, Victor.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Joining you guys. Yeah.
Thank you for taking out the time to join us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Thank you so much. So, Victor, talking about the southern Kaduna killings, would you call it political or religious?
Yeah, thank you for this. On the southern Kaduna, it depends on what we're actually talking about, because when you are talking about conflict, there are various dimensions to conflict. And we have the communal conflict, and we have a conflict that is interest-driven. And what I see from the continuous violence within the southern Kaduna premise is that it has to do with resources. When we're talking about resources, we're talking about land, we're talking about other things that are very valuable. And then we have two various parties that are contending in this conflict. And so it depends on the angle we are actually looking at this conflict. We can't actually call it a religious conflict per se, but then I think it actually it has to do with a communal kind of conflict, because if you look at it genuinely, if you look at it holistically, you will see that it involves two various parties. But they have not come out pop and plain to tell us who the perpetrators are. They use various terminologies like bandits. They use terminologies like criminals. But then who are the criminals? Do they have an identity? That we don't know for sure. So we can't actually say if this conflict is religious per se. But then from the analysis of victimization, we can look at it as a communal-based conflict.
Okay, Victor. Kaduna State has been on a curfew lately, but in spite of the fact that the state is on a curfew, the state still witnesses this death orgy, so to say. Also, in spite of the fact that the military has actually also moved to Kaduna State. Why do you think Kaduna State government particularly has not been able to nip this in the bud once and for all? Because it's become a festering sore when you probably have over 100,000 people dying in like 7-8 months.
Okay, it depends on the stakeholders. Are they doing the right thing? That's the question we're supposed to ask. Who are the people at the helms of affairs? Are they taking the right conflict resolution and procedures? Are they involving the conflict stakeholders? What are they actually doing to make sure that these things stop escalating? Because we're having too much deaths, killings. Are they actually getting the perpetrators, and are they actually doing the right thing to make sure that this conflict ends? That's the question we're supposed to ask. So it's not just about sending the military. You can send the military. The military have been in the Northeast for how many years? But they are not still winning the battle of insurgency. So we need to sit down and draw out a very strong, strong mechanism that can be able to address this issue of communal conflicts that is ravaging the southern Kaduna premise. And I think that if we want to score, do a proper evaluation on the actions that have been taken to address this conflict, I can really say that it's not something that we can actually give a good recommendation about, because every day by day we keep on hearing stories of killings, and they're not getting any perpetrators. So I think that these stakeholders need to go back to the drawing board, involve whoever is needed to be involved, and think of a strategic way of ending this crisis. These people are not ghosts. These people that are killing are not ghosts. If they really want to address this issue, they can do it.
Hello? Okay, I'm sure he will join us.
I like that cue out. They are not ghosts.
They are not ghosts. They are human beings, and they are there. And another thing is that southern Kaduna is predominantly Christians.
Yeah.
That was why I asked the first question.
Yeah.
It's predominantly Christian. So we might say it's ethnic or communal clash, which is, okay, we have Victor joining us again.
Yeah.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I will not want to start creating an ethnic divide in my analysis, but then it's a problem of policy. It's a problem of the leaders. The leaders need to sit down and look at what actually the problem is. You can't keep running and beating the bush around the bush for so long. Why people keep dying? We need to ask the governors and the heads of security in that state some very, very vital questions on what policy and what mechanism are on ground. You don't just send military and say, you're not fighting a guerrilla war, for Christ's sake. We're talking about people's life. We're talking about communities that sleep and wake up and then they're attacked over the night. So it's a very serious issue that I think that the people at the helms of affairs need to wake up and address this issue critically.
Okay, Victor, you did mention that the government is not doing some things. What exactly will you describe as those things?
Okay. One, I believe that the government is trying to, cover the identities of these perpetrators. Today you come out and tell us they are headers. Tomorrow you come out and tell us they are bandits. And tomorrow you come out and tell us they are criminals. So you are virtually not coming out plainly to actually tell us who the identity of these people are. First of all, when you're trying to address a conflict, you need to understand who the people, or who exactly the people, the people involved.
Hello? Okay, now he's trying to establish a fact here that these stakeholders, the governors and the heads of security, having to come together, you know, to deal with it decisively. Now, at a time, Governor El Rufai, according to him, you know, had paid headsmen not to inflict violence in southern Kaduna.
Yeah.
Now, these people are said to, they are not even calling them headsmen, they say they're certain militia, you know, that are doing this, and that's about communal, whatever the case may be. But looking at the history of southern Kaduna and Kaduna itself, you know, this is back into like the 1980s. I mean, we've had we've had someone come on one of the programs, Beyond the Facts, when we're looking at, you know, Christian persecution, and he said how they, you know, how they had come in, maimed people, killed people, and not much is being done. I mean, look at the protests, though. You know, not much is being done, you know, about these things. And you know, he is also based in Benue. So I don't know if we'll be able to have him talk about, you know, the Benue killings and IDP camps and all of that. But this is what is happening in the north. So it's not just about what the president keeps saying. He's addressing the military. Is addressing, like what he said. He's a researcher. He said it's not enough to send the military. It's not enough. What about? Okay, we have Victor joining us again. Hello, Victor.
Yeah, I need to apologize for the bad.
No problem. So let's quickly talk. Okay, before we let you go, let's quickly talk about Benue. You know, you've also been looking into that matter, where you're based, Benue, the Benue killings, and then something about the IDP camps. Can you tell us more about that?
Okay, for the past 3 years, I've been investigating the victimization experiences of these displaced farming communities, and which are predominantly a Christian community. So I can firmly tell you that this is a communal, should I say? No, this is a kind of a conflict where you see communities. It's somehow like the Southern Kaduna killings, but here we have an identity. We know that the perpetrators of these crimes are headers, you know. So I have been here for quite a number of years, for like 3 years now. I've been investigating their victimization experiences, and a lot of them, as you can see, a lot of them are farmers, and this is their mode of livelihood, you know, and this I'm taking over these heads, and through my investigation and interview most of them, they can't actually go back to their communities. In fact, right now I'm speaking to you, this is the farming season. A lot of them are languishing in the ID camps. You can look at the pictures at the background. Those tents you see are where they stay. Most of them were big people back in their communities. They had 2, 3 wives. They had the money to fund their lifestyle. But as a result of this conflict between the farmers and the herders, let me not say the conflict, because if you are saying, if you use what conflict, it's like 2 people contending. What is not intention? This is what it's very disheartening. And throughout my interview, I really do not understand how you know, how our policy makers, I don't really understand what they are actually doing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Victor.
I mean, that was Benue. You know, we moved from Southern Kaduna to Benue, where he's been for 3 years, you know, doing a research. You know, he said he's been, you know, communicating with these people, these farmers. Most of them are farmers. Most of them, you saw the tents where they live now, and that they were living very well before. But now these headsmen came in to, you know, destroy, of course, their lands. You know,
came into their community.
Into their community, and that is what they do. And this farmer headsman clashes has been on for years. Are we saying that the government has not